Hey, one of the things that we get a lot of emails and questions on is, especially from new gun owners or new customers to the Kydex holster game, is questions about retention and how that works, how to adjust it, how ours works, whatever. Ours is very simple. It's very similar to a lot of holster companies out there. On our inside the waistband models, we utilize the mod wing, with the exception of our stowaway model, which is a little bit more low profile. And then on our outside the waistband models, whether it's light bearing or non-light bearing, you'll see 2 points of retention on each one. So today I just wanted to run through a little bit on how to adjust that retention. It's very simple. You only need one tool, a Phillips head screwdriver. And so for instance, we're going to start off here with a light bearing low pro, and this one's set up for a P365 XL with a TLR7 sub. You'll see here on the back side there's rubber spacers, which gives adequate spacing for adjustability in the retention of the holster, and it also helps with the blocking for passage and movement of the light so it doesn't catch up on the holster itself. For the mod wing adjustments, there's going to be 2 screws right here. It's going to be 2 points of retention. These can be adjusted either together or they can be adjusted separately from one another, and that's going to allow you to tweak certain points of the retention to set it up to your liking. So one of the things is a lot of people don't realize is friction retention holsters, about 80% or 90% of the retention is on the light itself, a little bit on the slide, but this is where most of your adjustability is going to come from and where that friction is going to really play a part in how the pistol is in the holster itself. So adjusting it's very simple. I'm just going to test how it's going in. Let's say it's a little bit sticky, I want it a little bit looser. I'm going to start on the bottom here and I'm going to adjust it counterclockwise, and I'm already feeling a difference in how the holster is functioning with the light. If you're one who likes to run your holster extremely tight, you can go through and give a half crank or a crank on both of these screws, and that's going to really help keep that pistol in snugger than ever. But the nice thing about the adjustability on all of our holsters is it allows the end user to be able to tweak this to exactly the way that they like to run it. Our non-light bearing holsters are more or less the same. For the inside the waistband, you'll see again, there's 2 points of retention. There are rubber spacers for adjustability. And the one thing that you'll notice that's different on a non-light bearing holster is that you're gonna hear that audible click that most people know and love when it comes to Kydex holsters. Now, one of the things that'll happen is we'll get emails and say, hey, I just bought my new holster. There's no audible click. What's up with that? We'll go take a look at the order, and it actually is a light bearing holster. So a lot of people, when they're switching to weapon lights, don't realize that due to the blocking for the light itself, it's going to eliminate this Kydex where it makes contact with the trigger guard of the pistol. And the trigger guard locking into the Kydex is where you get that audible click that everyone is aware of when it comes to Kydex. So if you do get a light bearing holster, it's very seldom that you'll get an audible click. Some lights, there's a slight click in the light itself, but for the most part, don't expect the audible click. That is not a true sign of your retention and how tight it is on your holster with a light bearing holster. So for non-light bearing, easy, same thing. We're gonna click it in, 2 points of retention. I'm gonna be able to adjust one or the other, or both at the same time, depending on how I like it. And that's gonna be my adjustability. Our outside the waistband holsters, like our rig here, is exactly the same. 2 points of retention for light bearing. Same thing here you can see for the non-light bearing. And I can adjust them very much the same to get my desired retention on the holster. Now, one of the things that you can do is once you do your retention in a safe space, make sure the gun is unloaded. You can do a shake test once you adjust the retention. If the gun stays in when you're shaking it up and down, then you're probably pretty good. It comes out with a pull, easily back in the holster, and you're good to go. So we'll see you next time.